Dan and Corey here, welcoming you into Libservative.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back.
Welcome in to another rousing rendition of Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy, and the world's smartest internet show. All opinions heard on tonight's show are our own and not necessarily those of Libservative. He, as always, is Corey Walsh.
He's Dan Griffin.
And before we even get started, we have got to go with the breaking news of the day. I don't have the sounder pulled up, so that's fine. But a big win for the Trump administration as of just of this afternoon, Corey Walsh. Do you know what that is? Absolutely. Do you know what that is?
Coca-Cola is going to be switching to cane sugar away from, what do they use, like high fructose corn syrup?
Yeah, well, at least according to Trump, he said that he just called Coke, just called him up.
He just called Mr. Coke himself.
Called him up, said, we'd like you to switch to cane sugar. They're like, we'll do that. So here we go. Big win. Big win for the Trump administration on the heels of covering up the giant pedophile ring, but here we are.
For the cane sugar that we're going to exploit child labor in third world countries together?
Well, you got to have somewhere to send those kids after, you've trafficked them and abused them.
So actually, I meant to talk about tonight. There's a bipartisan bill on the table about immigration to reform it. And it's actually
not too bad.
Not terrible.
I'm not going to lie, Corey. I haven't looked at it yet, so I'm not going to give my opinion.
I'll give you a little tidbits, a little bit.
Add
that to our what to expect.
Okay. That's what to expect? Oh, okay. That's where
I read it right before the show.
What else do we have tonight, Corey? We have, listen, I didn't want to have to be this guy, but our predictions about a Trump presidency just continue to come true. Now, I will give the caveat for anybody who supports Donald Trump out there. Doesn't mean we want you to go away. Doesn't mean we don't like you. We understand why you voted for him. We 100%. We understand the fuck you vote. We don't like the election wasn't that long ago, and we get it. In fact, we sat on the show and kind of rooted for him, given the other choice.
The alternative. You look at the alternative, and it's like, yeah, well, that makes sense. It's like when you have a baby. Like before you have a baby, okay, and you hear these stories of people like shaking their babies to death, and it's like, how the fuck can you do that, right? But then you have a baby. And it's like, okay, that makes sense.
Daddy, you're my daddy.
You sure about that?
Right. But the fact of the matter is, we gave several warnings about what might happen within this presidency. We didn't expect it to only take about 6 months for most of them to come to fruition. But I guess, let's get all the bad shit out of the way. What else do we have? That's going to be a big chunk of the show. We had George Santos, our favorite ever congressperson, on with Tucker Carlson as he's about to go to prison for 7 years in
like 20 days or something like that.
Yeah, in the next few weeks here. 7 years for basically doing things that every congressperson does. Because he's
don't get bogged down by all the haters out there.
He's trying not to. I give George credit. He's really trying not to.
He's afraid to go to jail, though. He thinks he's going to get murdered.
He did say that, wasn't he?
And that's not the first time I heard him say that. I heard them say that on his own podcast. He's like, me going to prison with the caveat and the notoriety of who I am. And like, he's obviously like, boosted himself up, but he's still like an actual figure. If he goes in there and like he goes, because he said, if I go to prison and I'm in like general population and I'm in there and people found out that I might have voted for legislation that puts some of them in there.
Well,
he's just
fat pussycat.
What he says is that he's not going to like a minimum security camp, which I mean, I got to tell you, I feel like that's probably the place he should be going. If I'm sure there are more violent criminals that have committed more heinous crimes than misappropriating campaign funds.
Yeah,
like George Santos did.
It's kind of bullshit, isn't it? Like they all fucking do that.
Yeah, and he puts a lot of the blame on his
like a Connor Stalions, Dan.
Yeah, that's right. Well, no, because Connor Stalions is actually really because Connor Stalions is actually just really fucking good at what he did. He just got caught. George Santos, not so much. Yeah, the whole.
How many teams do you think are doing the Connor Stalions thing, but like through a proxy or something like
that? They can't now because there's fucking microphones in the quarterbacks' helmets now.
It should have been there all along.
20 years ago. Yeah, the whole surviving prison thing, he has said that. And I don't know how much of that is reality or how much of that is George Santos being a melodramatic queen. That's not a pejorative because I'm pretty sure he would call himself that if we know George Santos the way that we think we do.
If you knew who he was, for people who are listening and don't, go listen. Even if you don't like Tucker Carlson, go check out the podcast Liar Liar Pants on Fire with George Santos. He had like 4 episodes.
I think it's just called Pants on Fire.
Or is it Pants on Fire?
Yeah.
And then go listen to his interview on Tucker Carlson. Even if you don't like Tucker Carlson, it's a fluff interview. It's nothing detrimentally that could hurt your feelings, I guess. You're not listening to it to have someone change your opinion. It's just basically...
excuse me, Corey. To many people out there, just hearing Tucker's voice is offensive to them.
No, brother. Well, they're not going to like this show very much.
I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't.
These idiots on cable news.
Yep. Hakeem Jeffries is saying that, he's saying some interesting stuff about Mamdani. Should he get elected mayor? I don't know if he's implying that he should do this if he gets elected mayor of New York, or if he needs to do it to get elected mayor of New York. Either way, it's pretty silly. We'll talk a little bit about the Dave Smith versus Josh Hammer debate at Turning Points, but not so much that because Corey hasn't seen the whole debate yet. But really, something interesting that I saw coming out of what I think most would agree is the, I guess the premier young conservative organization out there right now. I mean, is there a bigger one than Charlie Kirk's Turning Points?
No.
Not as far as it comes to young conservatives. There's a shift going on.
Podcasts and stuff, sure, but like his little, like he has like a little thing, right? Like
there's a shift going on in the conservative movement, especially as it pertains to young people. And even I, as somebody who's not a conservative, find this to be a very, very, very good thing. And storm clouds are gathering on tariffs and inflation, Corey.
Yep.
Yep, it's not looking good.
3%.
Yep, not good. We won't talk a whole lot about that. We got to wait for the other shoe to drop on this one before we dive too much into it. But just keep an eye out, because we did just have the president brag about what's the word I'm looking for? Revenue generated from tariffs, and most people don't have a cursory or most basic education on economics, so revenue sounds like a good thing, and it is, but it's only the first part. So here we go. You want to? Where do you want to start with Trump's? You want to start with Trump's meltdown, or do you want to start with how he's just continues to do a really good impression of Joe Biden?
Let's do the meltdown, because there's 2 text messages, and I sent one today, and there was one from a couple of days ago. Do you have the first one?
I have the one from over the weekend. Read one? I have the one from over the weekend. Okay. So Trump
pull up the recent one.
Trump is absolutely melting down over the, I don't know what you want to call it, the botched Epstein investigation or lack thereof, whatever you want to say. He's obviously melting down over this. And we've seen this before. Trump has a tendency to do a really good job taking credit for the things that he does well and really, really pushing that stuff hard. But he also does a really, really poor job of taking any sort of criticism. He always does this thing where...
dude, you have to be 100% in or you're out.
Yeah, he always does this thing where he blames Democrats, or he says that, you know, when his followers disagree with one thing that he's doing, they were never really MAGA. And I mean, if you really want to break up a political coalition, that's a really good way to do it. But just as a little side note before I get into this, I watched, and I swear to God it ties in, I watched the train wreck documentary on Rob Ford. You remember who Rob Ford is?
Nope.
He just passed away from cancer, and just passed away. It's like, almost 10 years ago now. In 2016, he's the former mayor of the city of Toronto. They got busted smoking crack. Ringing a bell yet?
Yes, that does.
Ringing a bell yet?
It was on video. He was a big guy, because I remember thinking, wow, he's really big, and he smokes crack.
So I'm watching this documentary, and I had, you know, in kind of an outsider's view of who Rob Ford was. I'm not Canadian. I don't really care about Toronto politics, so I didn't care a whole lot at the time, and don't really care that much now. But what I found interesting about Rob Ford is that he was Donald Trump before Donald Trump. He did this thing where he was really loud, really boisterous. He was a counselor for the city of Toronto.
It's because he was on crack.
Which I believe is like, yeah.
Which I believe is he was loud and boisterous.
I believe a counselor is basically just like the Canadian version of like a city council member. And said a lot of controversial things. He was a staunch conservative. And so he gets elected by being loud and calling out the progressive and liberal parties in Canada. He gets elected mayor of Toronto. And once the scandal starts to come out, he does exactly what Trump does now. First thing he does is he blames the media, and everything is a lie. Everything bad that you hear about Rob Ford, or in our case now, Donald Trump, is a lie. And what he does is, and it's the thing that Trump does so brilliantly, is that he attacks the media so much. And Trump does this thing where he finds areas where the media really did get shit wrong, and it makes people question how much is the media lying to me? Is it 100%? Is it 0%? Is it 50%? Is it somewhere in between? And Trump's doing that again now. I just found it interesting that Rob Ford was basically Donald Trump before Donald Trump was Donald Trump. He's doing that thing again now, where he can just say, Democrats are lying, Democrats made this up, Democrats fabricated Epstein files, and the reason with a huge chunk of his constituency that it has credibility is because the first time he was kind of right. The Russiagate scandal, he was right.
Yeah, he was right.
So
his apartment getting bugged by Obama, that was right. You know, the laptop being buried, that was right.
The all the Steele dossier nonsense, you know, the money paid to Christopher Steele, like this was all stuff that was correct. So I guess I don't really blame him now for trying to use that tactic again. The only difference is the evidence is kind of in reverse, I guess is what you would say. Because if you have a situation where, where'd my note go? If you have a situation where Comey, Hillary, Biden, Brennan, Obama, etc., all the usual suspects are fabricating the Epstein files, making them up, it's all a hoax, it's all nonsense. Aren't these fabrications No, in fact, they are major felonies. Is there a prosecution of these people in the works for making this stuff up? Maybe there is. Maybe there is. I don't know.
For what? For defaming Epstein's name?
For fabricating.
If it's truly a hoax. They fabricated this wild conspiracy just to get elected. Is that what they're like? Is that kind of what they're admitting to then? Because
that's the part that I don't quite understand. I've seen some Trump supporters come out and say that this is an idea. This was a way to get Trump and his administration to talk up pulling out the Epstein files all throughout the election, and then when they got into office, they were going to look stupid when there was nothing there. Which is like, dude, the 4D chess that you would have to play and the amount of things that would have to go right for that to work is kind of unbelievable. Not to mention, I've seen a couple. I've seen a few folks suggest that any evidence was tampered with and changed. It's like you're running an election, even if you're a Democrat, or even if you're Kamala Harris after Joe Biden, you are still running that election to win it. You know what I mean? We all knew that wasn't going to happen, but that's what they were running a campaign to do.
I'm not saying it was uniquely him, right? Like him saying we're going to release the Epstein files, we're going to release the JFK files, so no new wars, all of that stuff. He was sloganeering just right. Just like how, a lot of Democrats right now that he's in office, they're like, Trump is bad, Trump is Hitler, he's racist. We got to defeat racism because Trump is racism. That makes sense.
They have kind of tapered down that rhetoric a little bit recently, haven't they?
Dude, they did. Yeah, that's the grossest thing, right? Like the biggest problem everyone has with the Democratic Party is the fact that they are a group of elitists and intellectuals who virtue signal and try to make everyone else feel that they're not as good as them, but they can be just as good as them as long as they vote the way they want them to. And it's almost this weird left sphere of the right sphere of voting for rich people, like the temporarily embarrassed billionaire or millionaire. You know what I mean? A lot of white people see themselves as just a temporarily embarrassed millionaire. And so the left one is I can be like them as long as I vote and do what they say, and it's just, they're just temporarily not an intellectual or an elitist. It's the same kind of fucking book. And I lost my train of thought.
Oh boy.
I should stop saying I lost my train of thought and just
it's just the ADHD people.
But
people need to know that about you.
Oh no, I know what I was gonna say. And it was what they were gonna do, and what they're doing is they're getting rid of they're tampering down on everything being racist. There's reports of them throwing the LGBTQ community into the gutter, which is really sad for that whole community.
This group can't get us elected. We don't need them anymore.
And women, apparently, they're like, it's a woman can't get elected in America. And it's like, no, that's bullshit. They could. You just keep choosing shitty women.
Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton can't get elected in America.
Yeah. Like, give me a fucking break. The name on my wall, I'm a guy, I think. Let me check. The guy, I'm a guy and I campaigned for a girl. Like, I know, yeah. It's wild.
These fabrications and supposed hoax and fabrications with regards to the Epstein files. The whole point of the reason I bring up, is there going to be a prosecution of these people, is because it doesn't seem like it's since Trump and Bondi. Not so much Dan Bongino. He seems pissed, but I'm really wondering what his end game is here. We'll find out. But, especially Trump and Bondi, they just seem to be telling us all that we just need to move on. There's nothing to see here. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. We just need to move on. There's nothing there. It's all a hoax. Well, if it's a hoax, kind of seems like there should be some sort of prosecution coming. Maybe there will be. Maybe there will be. I'm not saying there won't be, but why are you just going move on, move on, move on? Why are you not saying we're going to investigate this hoax? I haven't heard Trump say that yet.
Now he's backtracking a little bit, and he said that he wants, or Bondi should release what she thinks is credible. That's what he said.
Okay. So we're just leaving it up to what Pam Bondi thinks is credible. And also, just as a kind of a side
and they're
note,
all making themselves look worse and worse and worse. Did you hear about the House committee?
Maybe.
Rokana. Is that his name? Yeah, it's Rokana, right?
Yeah.
He introduced to the House committee the ones who decide on whether or not it could be brought to the floor for a vote, which I kind of think is bullshit. You should, if you want to vote something, you should just be able to introduce it, and never would, they come in and go, all right, we're going to vote on this. This is tomorrow. Anyways, he introduced a bill to force the Trump administration to release the Epstein files to the public. And all the Republicans in that little committee voted no, and all the Democrats voted yes.
Interesting. Isn't it amazing how the story has completely flipped on that in under a year?
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that. Like now all of a sudden the Epstein file has to be released just because Trump doesn't want it to be.
It was. And
I was explaining that to someone at work that the other day, because he said, like, if it was Biden's DOJ that had all this information, you don't think that they would have released it if Trump was on it? And I said, not unless their boys are on it, right?
Depends
because,
who else is on it.
Right. Like, do the Democrats hate Trump more than they love the Clintons or Bill Gates?
Yes.
Or the geopolitical possibly, but then the geopolitical implications. You're talking about all of a sudden bringing in Prince Andrew, and God only knows the other names that are on there. We're talking about like celebrity elites,
Daddy, you're my daddy,
sports elites. Like the and it's like, just like we've said on this show, like Trump not releasing it is no different than any other president that did not or won't release it. Like it's just like we called it, like we said from the beginning, we ain't never gonna see that. It's just crazy that they just blatantly made a statement about it. Like, we're not doing it. They could have just kicked it along and didn't do anything about it.
They could have just gone for 4 years saying we're still investigating. The administration would have been over, and he would have taken a lot of heat afterwards. Right. And it would have been really hard to get J.D. Vance or whoever the next Republican's going to be to get them elected. It would definitely. But again,
didn't they do it on a Sunday night?
I can't. Yes, it's always on the weekend. They always do when people aren't paying attention.
When everyone's busy. Yeah.
And don't you think, by the way, that if this is such a hoax, which is why nobody's buying this, which is why the whole, the using the same tactic that he used successfully and rightfully so for Russiagate, not going to work. Don't people now like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and others in this administration, don't they owe the likes of like Bill Gates a major apology for insinuating that these people were on this quote unquote non-existent list?
Yeah. Trump has a track record of that too. Remember the Central Park 5?
Yeah.
He's done that before.
It's a hoax. Everything's a hoax. Anything that Trump doesn't like is a hoax.
Just accusing people of outlandish things.
Oh, that's true.
Remember? Yeah. Like just accusing all of them of these outlandish things in this list he's going to get released. And he did that before when he took out the fucking front page of the newspaper, the local newspaper, and said these kids should get the capital punishment or whatever. Like a bunch of 15-year-olds, they didn't even fucking do it. Like they're just like, what the fuck did we do? Actually, they were like 15 to 19 or something like that, right?
Something like that. I don't remember their ages, but you can always tell that when Trump is losing a PR war on a certain issue, because his tweets or truths just gets steadily longer.
And that motherfucker made sure that he didn't have 120 characters like Twitter on his social media platform. Huh? You got that first?
Yeah. This is the one from over the weekend. So he goes, "What's going on with my boys and in some cases gals? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job. We're on one team, MAGA, and don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration."
Wait, pause.
Yeah.
Not everyone is watching the show. Some are listening, so I'm going to need you to do a Trump accent for the rest of it.
I would, but I can't do it for this long. It's just if the president weren't so goddamn long-winded, I could probably pull it off. But you interrupted me at what I thought was the most. You interrupted me at what I thought was maybe the best line of the entire truth, where he goes, "We have a perfect administration, not a successful one, not a very, very good one, but a perfect administration." That doesn't exist, kids. Well, yeah, I guess it depends on who you ask. He says, "We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world." Well, that's true. And quote unquote, selfish people are trying to hurt it. All over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written, like physically written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden
By the way, we
administration?
launched an investigation on by happenstance the same day.
Yeah, convenient timing. Who conned the world with Russia hoax. 51 quote-unquote intelligence agents. The quote-unquote, oh, sorry, I got gassy. The quote-unquote laptop from hell.
Gassy.
And more? I don't know why you put a question mark there. They created the Epstein files just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton Christopher Steele dossier that they used on me. And now my so-called friends are playing right into their hands. Why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? We're all asking the same question, Mr. President. If there was anything in there that they could use to hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? They haven't even given up on the John F. Kennedy or Martin Luther King Jr. files. No matter how much success we have had securing the border, deporting criminals, fixing the economy, haven't done that. Energy dominance, give you credit for that one, Mr. President. I like that one. A safer world where Iran will not have nuclear weapons. They weren't going to have them before. It's never enough for some people.
We can't believe it's still going.
Yeah. Oh, I'm like barely halfway done. We're about to achieve more in 6 months than any other administration has achieved in over 100 years, including the amount of bombing campaigns almost reaching Biden's 4-year total, just so everybody's aware. And we have so much more to do. We are saving our country and making America great again, which will continue to be our complete priority. The left is imploding. Kash Patel and the FBI must be focused on investigating voter fraud, political corruption, Act Blue, the rigged and stolen election of 2020, and arresting thugs and criminals instead of spending month after month looking at nothing but the same old radical left-inspired documents on Jeffrey Epstein. Let Pam Bondi do her job. She's great. The 2020 election was rigged and stolen, and they tried to do the same thing in 2024. You still won. That's what she is looking into as AG and much more. 1 year ago, our country was dead. I'm sorry. Now it's the hottest country in the world, anywhere in the world. God damn, she looked good.
Lady Liberty never looked so sweet.
Let's keep it that way and not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about. Nobody cares about. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So Corey, according to the president, nobody cares about Jeffrey Epstein.
I know.
I get nothing to see here. Move on.
So you would think that was on what was the date on that? What's the timestamp?
It was the
12th. It'd be in the bottom right corner. The 12th.
It was the 12th.
So you would think he'd be calming down, but 4 days later, he says, the radical left, Democrats have hit pay dirt again. Just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier, the lying 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, which the Dems swore had come from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom. And
the biggest load that we've seen.
And even the biggest Russia scam itself, a totally fake and made up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss in the 2016 presidential election. These scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They're no good at governing, no good at policy, and no good at picking winning candidates. Also,
those are all true.
Right.
Those things are all true.
Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters who bought into this bullshit, hook, line, and sinker, they haven't learned their lesson and probably never will.
Daddy, you're my daddy.
Even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years, I have had more success in 6 months than perhaps any president in our country's history. And all these people want to talk about with strong prodding by the fake news and the success-starved Dems is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success because I don't want to hear their support anymore. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again.
Jesus Christ.
Right?
It's not going to work.
Oh, and
bub.
Bell is also not on the show today because he's out and about, but he did just hit us with some breaking news. Maureen Comey, federal prosecutor in Epstein case, fired from U.S. Attorney's Office. Maureen Comey, a federal prosecutor in Manhattan and the daughter of former FBI Director James Comey, has been fired from her job in the Southern District of New York, according to people familiar with the situation. Comey was a prosecutor in the case against accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein and more recently against Sean Diddy Combs. The reason for her firing was not immediately clear, but a person familiar with the situation said being a Comey is untenable in this administration given James Comey is constantly going after the administration. The former FBI chief, a Donald Trump critic, is currently under investigation for possible false statements to Congress. He was separately questioned in May by the U.S. Secret Service after he posted a photo on social media showing seashells on a beach that spelled out 8647.
And he takes the fat shot drug.
Maureen Comey's dismissal also comes as Trump faces growing pressure to release more information on Epstein, the disgraced financier. The Justice Department last week released a memo that there was no Epstein client list, and the Trump administration announced that it didn't plan to release any more documents in the investigation. Epstein is a convicted sex offender whose criminal case has long captured significant public attention. In 2019, while he was awaiting the trial in the federal crimes case, Epstein was found unresponsive in his cell at New York's Metropolitan Correctional Center. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital, and his death was ruled a suicide. Comey was the lead prosecutor in the investigation and prosecution of Epstein and his former girlfriend and accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell's convicted and is serving a 20-year sentence. She has appealed. Earlier Wednesday, Trump called the controversy around Epstein bullshit on social media and said that his supporters who care about it are weaklings. The president also attacked the credibility of the federal investigation into Epstein on Tuesday, claiming that the files are made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden administration.
Come on now, you expect me to believe that?
Many of the president's supporters hoped that releasing additional information on the case would implicate other high-profile figures or undercut the notion that Epstein killed himself. A spokesperson for the SDNY declined to comment about the firing. That's from CNN, and it's just funny watching them talk about how, like, oh yeah, the Epstein files, it's a thing, whereas before none of them were touching it. It's just
the first interesting thing was the what the hell is her name? The Comey daughter.
You know how the next Democratic president wins?
Hmm.
Promises to release the Epstein files.
Yeah, it's gonna be the next. That's gonna be the new thing. That's gonna be the new thing.
Trump didn't do it. I'll do it.
That's gonna be the new. We're gonna do
I know,
something about the
they
national
can even
debt.
say it, right? I know a lot of my Democratic constituents don't really care about that, but to you Republicans, just know that if I'm elected, the Epstein files are coming out,
and enough people will trust.
You trust your mother every night to fix your hot pockets and make sure your Game Boy is turned on.
He what's his name?
Tim Burchett.
Tim Burchett. Yeah, he was out there in some interview talking about how they need to be released and how it's a bad play and all that.
You notice though, like with this, what the hell is her first name? This Comey daughter.
Maureen, was it Maureen? Yeah, Maureen.
Maureen Comey. Her losing her job. Isn't it interesting how the system just always finds a way to just jerk itself off? Because you have the Comey situation where he clearly was involved in trying
as
to...
I was reading it, I was thinking the same thing. Oh, wow. What a way to completely end a prosecution or a investigation and then be able to say, no, it didn't have anything to do with Epstein. She's related to Comey.
Yeah, of course. She had to be in on the Russiagate hoax. And it's like, oh my God, that's gonna work.
It's like
it's gonna work.
More Daddy, local politics. Yep, it's more local politics, right? For us, and this simile I'm giving, but it's the same thing as Dana Nessel ending the investigation into the Flint water crisis with Bill Schuette because they're Democrats and he's Republican.
Rick Snyder, but yeah.
No, it was Bill Schuette was the AG under Rick Snyder.
You're right. You're right. Snyder was the governor.
Yeah, and Schuette was the AG who had a whole list compiled of Republicans and Democrats that fucked everything up. And Nessel, remember, she completely nixed it, all of that whole investigation, and said she was starting her own. And now we're almost 8 years fucking later, and did we get anything from that? Has anybody been fucking prosecuted?
Nope. Flint still doesn't have 100% clean water, as far as I know.
Can I get a glass of water?
And you still have nobody being held responsible. At least no jail time. I mean, people have been brought in and punished, slapped on the wrist, but nobody's served any prison time for that criminal negligence. Another thing I find really, really interesting. We talked about it a little bit, maybe 10 minutes ago. About
so ChatGPT said yes, several individuals were charged and indicted in connection with the Flint water crisis, but ultimately nobody was convicted due to procedural issues.
Yeah, and nobody served any jail time. How convenient. This is just another example of how Orwellian our world has become with the absolute comical flipping of narratives that we have seen just over the last 6 years. The unbelievable doublethink that we see. You don't really have to look a whole lot further than the memory holes and the doublethink around the COVID narratives, right? Because what was it at first? It was, oh yeah, the vaccine, it's gonna stop it right where it starts. Remember Rachel Maddow? It stops with you if you take this vaccine. And then 6 months later, well, we never said it was gonna stop transmission. Move on. You could move on to Biden's cognitive ability. Oh, he's great. He's cogent. Remember, he's never been more cogent. Joe Scarborough. You had Jake Tapper. Seems to be doing a great job. I don't see anything wrong with the president. And then he fucking writes a book about how it was a horrible horrible thing that happened to the country, that we basically had a senile president of the United States. Oh yeah, and then the narrative flips to we never said that. We always knew it was a problem. And those are both obviously on the Democratic side of memory holes and double thinking. But now you have Epstein, where for the last, what was it, 2018 that Epstein was brought to justice? at least since Trump lost in 2020, you have had the MAGA crowd release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files. And now, all of a sudden, we just need to move on. And it's not just Trump saying that. It's his sycophants saying the same thing. We just need to move on. Nothing to see here. It's not a big deal. It's a hoax. Now it's a hoax. The memory holding and the doublethink that takes place in our society today is just another thing that you look at George Orwell and you go, dude, you nailed it. You got it right. That book was supposed to be an allegory. 1984 was supposed to be an allegory for the Soviet Union and how horrible it was there.
And now we're literally getting, our whole nation is getting gaslit. There was no Epstein file.
We're living it. We're living 1984 right
Good
now.
evening, sirs, locked in from London, England. What are we talking about? We're talking about America being gaslit about the Epstein list. One of your guys' boys was on the list too. The little thing going on there with was it Prince Andrew? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But we're talking about
if there was nothing to see here,
president ran right. He ran on one of his campaign promises was releasing the Epstein list, and then there is no list. It's a hoax, and anyone who disagrees with him is a weakling.
Well,
nothing to do. Isn't
since it's fake, Corey, and it's a hoax? Don't we also owe Prince Andrew an apology? Don't we, as a nation, owe Prince Andrew an apology?
Yeah, he was a political prisoner. Yeah, it's defamation. I don't know what the defamation laws are in the UK, but he's
fucking nonsense.
Ghislaine Maxwell is a political prisoner, and we really need to take a moment to talk about men's mental health, because here we had Jeffrey Epstein, an innocent man in jail, who was dealing with apparently depression. I don't know what else to say.
Daddy, you're my daddy.
I fucking love, like, the UK version of English is fucking lingo. Like, don't get me started on nonsense.
Yeah. We don't want to get him started. Do you have anything else on this? Is there anything to see here?
I don't know. I'd like to see more. I like the idea that they're trying to block Ghislaine Maxwell from going in and
appealing.
Appealing and saying that she would offer all of this information.
I mean, according to Trump, she's innocent. Let her out.
But yeah, nope. We all witnessed the poisoning of Flint through the lead water pipes here in Michigan for like very local news, and watch it be swept under the rug. Do you really think we're going to see an international sex trafficking ring see justice for an international sex trafficking ring?
I have an answer for you. Lines are open.
I also have here's some audio of Trump dealing with this whole debacle.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was basically his entire administration falling down the stairs, tripping over themselves to call the Epstein files a hoax. I think I already went over the oh, no, there is one thing we forgot to talk about with regards to the Epstein situation, and that is the fact that there is some reporting coming out of the administration that Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi are at war right now. That Dan Bongino, the second in command at the FBI, is threatening to quit if Pam Bondi doesn't give up her post. Or
is that what it is right now?
I would imagine he would probably be satisfied with her actually releasing stuff on Epstein, which that doesn't seem likely now because the head honcho says no. And I'm interested to know what would happen should Dan Bongino actually step down. Would Dan Bongino just go back to doing his show? Had a very, very, very successful and popular podcast. Not my thing. I wasn't a huge fan of Dan Bongino, but a lot of people liked him. Does he just go back to doing what he was doing before? Or does he do the right thing and spill what he actually knows? My guess would be the former.
Well, the only way he regains credibility is if he resigns and then spills the beans. Well, his resignation would save his credibility.
You know what? It would with the low IQ crowd. Oh, that's a principled stance. Dan Bongino didn't actually know anything. He knew there was stuff, but he didn't know what it was. That's going to be the defensive. That's going to be the defensive Dan Bongino.
Oh,
Jesus Christ! That comment takes up half the fucking screen.
I'm blocked, but it's okay. It's Jess. He's talking about politics. You know, that's what we're talking about. But he goes,
TLDR.
He says, I think democracy is a farce, especially here in the UK. We have the freedom to choose between multiple logs of poo, except one has sprinkles and one doesn't. Also, our political parties are only in 4 years before someone else comes in and does all the work that everyone was trying to achieve. For real, change you need to have, for real change, you need to have someone in 10 plus years and stick to promises. Also, they make changes on our behalf without asking the public if they're okay with it. Yeah, it sounds like you guys kind of have a representative democracy, which is kind of what ours has turned into. Ours is supposed to be. We have the Constitution. We're supposed to be a constitutional republic because, yeah, it's who is it? Is it Kant? It's one of the early philosophers. He talks about how democracy is actually not good because when it comes to the idea that like it's just the public majority. The public majority could be wrong. We've seen it before. The public majority in America and the UK at one point thought slavery was right.
I think his actual comment was that direct democracy is two wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's really what it is. It is.
Boom,
and
boom.
That's why when the founding fathers created America, they didn't want a democracy. They wanted a constitutional republic where the Constitution just protects everyone's basic fundamental rights. And it's and our Constitution was also designed to limit the government. So that's why you see us over here getting in stupid fucking fights with each other, because everything is like it's just funny, right? Like our whole government was like when it was first created.
Oh Lord, Jesus!
Was created on like the least amount of government possible.
And
so
we
when
can't
anyone
even
tries to do anything like something as simple as like, hey, maybe we should offer everyone healthcare. Everyone's like, dude, that's fucking communism. I ain't no pinko. Like,
we can't even decide. We can't even decide what the Constitution means half the time. Anyway,
I know, because it's like the Bible. It's up for interpretation.
The interpretation.
No, I mean tough. It's with all of its faults though.
Oh shit, buddy! I gotta dig a little deeper.
We've done some pretty cool shit. We built some really fast cars. You know, been to the moon. Yeah, come on. What did we create? We created blues. We created
now we create nothing.
I think rock and roll might have came from the UK actually. You guys might have had that. We just took it and then like made it cooler. Other than the Beatles.
Well, it depends on where you think it started.
But now we're going on a real fucking tangent. I'm not going to get into the Beatles.
It depends where you think it started. Elvis was the first global superstar. Anyway, Hakeem Jeffries says that Zoran Mamdani needs to, quote-unquote, reassure the Jewish community that he's going to, quote-unquote, stand up for their safety and security. We're doing this again? We're doing protected classes again? That's what we're doing? That's how Zoran Mamdani gets elected? Mayor of New York City? You didn't hear what I said?
I missed it. I was reading. It's Jazz's comment, and I know we have a show to do. I'm sorry.
This isn't radio for two. Hakeem Jeffries says that Zoran Mamdani needs to, quote-unquote, reassure the Jewish community that he's going to, quote-unquote, stand up for their safety and security. So we're doing the protected class thing again.
So going back to what we were saying just basically a little bit ago on our tangent about the Constitution, it's just everyone deserves the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. But then all of a sudden, when you take one group and you elevate them above the others, it's completely negating everything else that like you stood for before that. So the hypocrisy of the right, who also ran on ending DEI and wokeism and all of this race baiting policies and identity politics, you're now doing the same fucking thing, dude.
Yeah, but this is Hakeem Jeffries saying this. This is a Democrat saying this. That Mamdani needs to reassure the Jewish community that he's going to stand up for their safety and security. He is running for the mayor of New York City. Right. All Mamdani has to do is say, I'm going to stand up for the safety and security of all New Yorkers. It's a really, really easy pivot. What is with the just like finding a new protected class when your last protected class let you down in the election, as you were talking about earlier, Corey? That's kind of where I was going with this. Because just replace the word Jewish community with trans or gay. What does it sound like? It sounds like 2017 all over again is what it sounds like.
Or black, like all the big ones that were being heavily commercialized for profit.
To your point about the right, though, Corey, to your point about the right, do you think that any right-wing or anti-woke conservative commentators would disagree or has disagreed with Hakeem Jeffries' statement?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Do you think that any right-wing or anti-woke conservative commentators would disagree or have disagreed with with Congressman Jeffries' statement there?
Yeah.
No.
Oh no. Oh yeah, but yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Are you here? Are you here? Are you with me? Stay with me.
Sorry, I'm turning off. I'm getting off the comments page.
Not that you should disagree with that statement. Just the fact that that statement doesn't need to be made. It doesn't need to be made.
Right.
Zoran Mamdani has, if he is elected mayor of New York City, his job is to work for the people of New York City. Yeah, that already includes Jewish New Yorkers. Yeah. They don't need any special security.
Right. Yeah, like when you say everybody, that kind of implies everybody, right? Like,
but I'm interested because Hakeem Jeffries is basically...
Well, it's just the whole thing has been wild. And I think, and it's wild because he's Muslim. And like policy-wise, you and I would probably disagree with him on a lot of stuff. Like of him trying to encroach government on the free market. Like, I'm not really fans of that. But it's just... You see people attacking him because he's a Muslim who won't visit Israel as his first place as mayor of New York City.
As mayor of New York City. Like he's fucking running for mayor of Tel Aviv or some shit.
Right. Like honestly, like if I'm the mayor of a city and I'm trying to bring in like growth and prosperity to my city, Waze is already in my city. I don't know what else Israel has. I'm thinking of a place like Singapore or something like that, trying to create or establish some trade routes that are going to make things in my city cheaper or more accessible for my people. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of shit I'm going to be thinking about when it comes to who am I going to visit. Maybe Canada, because that's close. We probably do a lot of trade with them. A lot of like.
Well, if you're a socialist like Mamdani, you better make sure the trains run on time.
The trains will always run on time.
At least the trains run on time, right, Stalin? It's interesting because Hakeem Jeffries is basically set up, or at least the DNC has set it up for him to basically be the next Nancy Pelosi, the constant speaker candidate, if you will, for the Democrats. And all they do is sit there and try to find the next protected class that will help them get elected. over and over again.
And then
that's all they do.
And then make everyone on the right hate them.
It's
every time.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Every time, yeah, that's just it, right? Like when all of a sudden it creates disdain. It fabricates disdain in the country when you create a protected class. Because then all of a sudden they're on a pedestal and you can't criticize them like you can everyone else. It's just fucking annoying.
Pay attention.
Just make sure they get the same rights that I do. Because when we're all on the same page, we're all going to really make sure we all have fucking rights that protect us, right? When you start dividing everyone up and then it's all of a sudden we have to worry about their rights, like people who are like just minding their own business and just voting on voting day, and they really only vote in the president's election, they're just going to be like, oh yeah, cool. They're working on their rights. That doesn't affect me. I'm going to go back and work my 8-hour day, 9-hour day, 10-hour day and try to stay afloat in this topsy-turvy economy.
So Liberty says, imagine being LGBTQ plus and learning that your new city's leader prefers countries that hate and kill you. There's a problem with that assessment of Mamdani, because, and it's something that we talked about last week, because he is a socialist Muslim. He's a socialist Muslim. How many socialist nations are there in the Middle East right now? How do
Let me think about it.
How do Islamic extremists feel about socialism overall?
They don't like it because they like the
Not big fans. So
it's not about everyone being equal. It's about God.
This is why the focus of his Muslimness is the wrong thing to focus on. The right thing to focus on is the socialist side.
Yeah, his shitty policy.
The fact that he is going to destroy the economy of New York City. The fact that he wants city-run grocery stores that are going to jack up prices.
Well, I think it's only 5 actually,
or cause shortages, one or the other. Either way, not good things.
And I don't think he said he was going to. Again, this is also the thing, right? It's putting needles in his whole. Everyone calling him a socialist and a communist. He's not abolishing the free market. He's just offering government-run grocery stores.
Well,
how well will that run? Probably not great. There's just too much bureaucracy in government to make a business run efficient.
Yeah, and he gets all of this, the idiotic socialist tropes wrong when he goes. Did you see the video of him like asking the what is it, like the people that make the food in the street carts on the city streets? And they were like, yeah, it's really expensive because we can't get permits. And what does Mamdani do? He blames capitalism for that. It's not capitalism's fault. It's the fact that you need an extra permit in the first place that, by the way, are sold to permit brokers that then these street cart operators have to go buy from them. Yeah. So if
it's not the free market causing the problem.
It's not the free market.
Government.
It's the fact that they only give out so many of these permits.
Like, it's absolutely insane when you see videos in America of people who just have just, selling not even food, just like drinks, or candy or something, like already prepackaged things that they bought.
Yeah, it's the old joke. It's the old joke of a crotchety old cop walking up to a little kid's lemonade stand and going, "You got a permit for that, kid?
You got a permit for this?"
Writing him a ticket for soliciting without a permit. That's the shit that's wrong with Zoran Mamdani. It's not his fucking Muslimness. It's his socialism.
Yeah, that is the problem. Right? Like, oh my God, we have a bunch of these problems and everything's really expensive in New York because they have to pay for the taxes that prop everything up. How are we going to fix this? Let's prop it up more. The government's the problem, so let's add more government. I agree with, we talk about this on the show all the time when it comes to people on the left. We most of the time agree with them 100% on how well they are at articulating and pointing out the problems. It's their solutions where it's like, I don't know, man.
Every time. Yeah. Why? You don't, because they always just turn to, oh, it's just capitalism. I hear left-wing pundits all the time talk about how we're in end-stage capitalism. All the time talking about how we're in end-stage capitalism.
Liberty Twitcher is playing into how you were always like, I don't know if he's a guy or a girl. Because he said that's easy for you to say because you're not LGBTQ Disney Plus. But for those of us who are gender fluid, we fear that guy.
Yeah, he's. I got nothing. You got me. He finally got me.
I always call him, and you're always like, you don't know. You don't know. It could be a guy or a girl.
Them finally got me.
I think Libby Twitcher is one of my favorite viewers because of the fact that he did come in the beginning just trying to troll the shit out of us.
Yeah.
And now here he is like a year and a half later just hanging out.
Them is an OG, bro. An absolute OG.
Daddy, you're my daddy.
That's right.
And then Joss, the Brit, goes, you could be LGHD TV in Dubai, just don't be openly making out with people in public. But that also goes for straight people.
Full disclosure, I've never been to Dubai. Don't really have an interest in going.
He's across the pond. He's much closer to everything, all the happenings. We're over here. We're like thousands of miles away from the rest of the world over here.
Right. Which is why it's like, Iran's going to attack us tomorrow.
Right. Like a 14-hour drive for him, he could probably be like 4 countries away. 14-hour drive for me. I'm just in Massachusetts and Cape Cod.
Actually, I did have one other thing here. Oh, dude, we got to talk about the Turning Points conference, man. Because I thought there was some interesting things that took place at Turning Points. Anybody who's listening to the show for
6 hours to France.
Yeah. But do the trains run on time?
An hour and a half by train.
This Turning Points conference, which, as we agreed at the opening of the show, Corey, Turning Points is the premier young conservative group in the United States right now.
Right.
There are some things happening within young conservatives that I am extraordinarily happy about. Because it is...
What would we call them? The neocons?
No.
Neocon redux?
Because young conservatives are anti-war. I think that's been made abundantly clear over the last few years.
Trump's
Again, another
pretty bad.
I mean, he got ratioed on his own goddamn social media platform over Epstein. He got ratioed on his own social media platform over Epstein. And it is kind of this thing that you look forward to because it's something we've talked about a lot on this show about pivoting away from these old fucking warmongering boomers that have zapped our generation, the generations younger than us, of our wealth, hoarded all of it, gaslit us into countless wars, and you're kind of starting to see young conservatives not buying their parents' bullshit anymore while still maintaining their core conservative values. I'm not a conservative, but I do have respect for certain aspects of conservative values. Corey, I think you would agree with that as well. We saw Tucker Carlson go to Turning Points and talk about how our unevolving and undying ties to foreign nations and their agendas, Israel, is not something that is America first. And what did Tucker get? He got cheers. He got cheers from the most, Trump fanboy base that you think you would run into at Turning Points USA. You saw that. Megyn Kelly got the same sort of, applause for talking about similar things. And it's more of a focus on the reduction of the national debt. Tucker Carlson talked about not using GDP. I wish I had pulled up the video, but I forgot to find it before the show. But he talked about, not using GDP as a marker for economic growth anymore, and using something that actually makes a lot more sense, especially to people like you and me, Corey, who are, sort of the middle millennials here. Are young people able to buy homes? Yeah, it's like, the GDP's up. Our revenue's up. Trump's generating revenue with tariffs and what have you. But can you afford a house at 28 years old and be able to start a family? Because, again, going back to conservative values, the nuclear family, and we have to create more babies because we have a birth rate crisis. Really hard to have babies, really hard to start a family. One of Tucker's points was when you don't own a house, it can be done and people do it, but nobody likes it.
Actually, I have a TikTok video.
Should I shut up?
Well, talk about what you're talking about. And
you want to play it now, or do you want to save it for your TikTok?
I was going to save it for the end, but it fits.
All right. Throw it up there. I have not seen this yet.
And we're talking about turning points. So, it's basically just talking about the exact same thing you were talking about. It's actually, it's Tucker.
It's the kitchen table stuff, dude. It really is.
Right.
That's what conservatives generally care about.
At some point, the basic...
I'm going to stop it. The title, Heartbreaking, the Worst Person You Know, just made a great point.
Economics
did Mark Levin share this?
Not that it's bad that rich people are getting richer. It's bad that everyone else is getting poorer. And it's especially bad that young people can't afford homes. Let me just put a very precise point on this. If you want a measure of how your economy is doing, I personally favor eliminating GDP as a measure. I don't even know what that is. It's clearly not relevant. They tell me Japan has a stagnant GDP. Have you been to Tokyo? It's the single most radicalizing experience you'll ever have because it's just so nice. You lost the war? Really? Can we lose a war and wind up like this? GDP. No. I don't know what even that is. The total economic activity. Oh, no. My measure is really simple. I got a bunch of kids. Can they afford houses with full-time jobs at like 27, 28? And the answer is no way. And the answer is that 35-year-olds with really good jobs can't afford a house unless they stretch and go deep into debt. And I just think that's a total disaster. That's a complete disaster. Why? Two reasons. One, if people don't own things, they don't feel ownership of the country they're in. And the country gets super volatile because people feel like they've got nothing to lose. When you have a lawn, trust me, you're thinking long term. Second, it's really hard to have a family without a house. It is. It's like super fun to live in an apartment if, there's like a bar downstairs, you're in a cool neighborhood. I'm in East Village. It's so cool. Try to have 3 kids. You're not going to have 3 kids there. You can't. Nobody wants to raise their kids in that neighborhood. Nobody wants to raise their kids in an apartment. People do it because they have to. Nobody wants to. People want a little house, not some McMansion, just a little normal house. That is the actual American dream. And that is what is totally unattainable for young people. And so the only young people in general that you will ever meet who have houses are young people whose parents help them. And God bless their parents. That's a perfectly great thing to do for your kids. But most people's parents can't afford to do that because they're already in debt from their pointless college degree. So that is a national emergency. And I know that there are certain cable channels that are spending all this time talking about, they're about to elect a socialist in New York City, which obviously I'm opposed to it. He's not even a real socialist. He's like a trainee vax, rich kid liberal guy. Mom Donnie. He's a fake leftist, but whatever. Why do you think that's happening? One of the reasons it's happening is because normal people with normal jobs no longer believe they can win in this system and that all the money is going to the worst people. And no one even stops to ask what the hell is going on.
I heard like zero of that because it was like cutting out on my end for some reason. But I know what he said. Was it fucked up for you too?
No.
All right. I didn't hear a whole lot, so I don't know how your TikTok segment's going to be. But I do know what he said because I did hear it already. And yeah, he got a huge ovation for that. Imagine being America first over Israel first, which is most of his point throughout a big chunk of that speech. And then you had the debate between Dave Smith and Josh Hammer, which you have only seen the very, very beginning of that. But what you will notice, Corey, when you go back and watch this, and anybody that hasn't seen it yet, this is the second time that Dave Smith has debated Josh Hammer. And again, it's a debate on Israel. And again, we're talking about Turning Points USA. We're talking about super pro-Trump, what you would think would be a pro-Israel audience. And I'm sure there was a huge contingency of pro-Israel folks in there. However, what you notice throughout this debate is the fact that Dave gets a lot of pretty loud applause in there. Mm-hmm. And not a lot of boos. You won't hear a lot of jeering, even when the applause isn't maybe as loud as it would be if he were at some libertarian conference, of course. But what you will notice in this debate is the same thing that you see every single time somebody debates Dave Smith. Every single time somebody debates Dave Smith on Israel is that Dave debates his points, and Dave actually says this in the debate, and the people debating him debate him. Not his arguments, but him. Josh Hammer starts this debate off exactly like that. This is the only part you saw, Corey. How was it?
From the little bit I saw, Josh Hammer does the straw man, right? Like attack the person, not the conversation at hand.
Ad hominem attack.
Ad hominem attacks. That's what it is.
So he pulls out, I swear to God, this is honestly maybe the most embarrassing thing I've seen somebody do in a debate against Dave Smith. He pulls out of his fucking jacket pocket a list of Dave Smith's old tweets shitting on Trump. So basically, in Josh Hammer's opening statements of this debate that's supposed to be about Israel, he goes, "This is Turning Points USA. We're all conservatives here. I love Donald Trump. He's the best president in my generation. Wouldn't you all agree?" Yeah, we all agree. We love Donald Trump. And then he goes, "And this guy, he said mean things about Donald Trump. We don't like him, do we? Yeah, we don't like that." Yeah, exactly.
There actually wasn't that much cheering. It just seemed it seemed underwhelming for what he was expecting.
It's like, debate the points, dude. Nobody does it. The reason I'm so fascinated by any of Dave Smith's debates, and it was interesting in this one too, because it was the first crowd, I think, that was probably not going to be on Dave's side going into the debate. That was one of the reasons I found this one pretty interesting. But also, I'm looking for the person that can debate Dave Smith's arguments. Every time he goes and debates somebody, I want to hear somebody debate his arguments. Like, where is that person? Does that person exist?
Right.
Because the more and more he does these things, I'm not finding anybody.
I know. He keeps calling out Ben Shapiro. It's the funniest.
Oh, Ben's got nothing. Ben's got nothing.
Ben would never.
Yeah. And he knows why. And Ben knows why Ben wouldn't do it. I'm Ben Shapiro, and I am a staunch Zionist, and I only debate 19-year-olds.
That's it.
That's him. And Charlie, too. But to Charlie's credit, at least Charlie brought him on. But Charlie wasn't the one debating. Right. Charlie Kirk wasn't the one debating But you could tell whose side he was on.
Is that like the first thing he's ever moderated? Just from the little bit I saw, it seemed like he's a little wet behind the ears.
He did seem a little uncomfortable. He did an okay job. If it was his first moderation, he didn't do too bad. Other than the fact that he was a little biased. But he did do this weird thing where he was like letting Josh Hammer kind of attack Dave. But then every time
interrupting Dave with by telling him how much time he had left.
That, and also Dave, I know he's attacking you, but you got to be the one that's responsible for keeping this thing civil. kind of throughout it. You'll notice when you watch it. But it was interesting because it's like, man, it's showing me that the evil side of what Zionism represents is losing. It's losing this fight with conservatives right now. Ben Shapiro's lost all credibility.
Dude, I feel like the Daily Wire has just gone downhill.
Well, yeah. Well, Matt Walsh has nothing to talk about because nobody cares about nobody's pushing the LGBTQ agenda right now because it's Trump's America. And Ben Shapiro's got nothing to talk about because Israel's losing the PR war. So where does the Daily Wire go now? That's why it was always a joke. It's always a little bit of a joke, the Daily Wire.
Yeah, they positioned their entire marketing scheme up before the
on rage bait against the woke left.
Yeah,
that's their entire business model.
But the woke left is shattered. The woke left is gone.
Yeah. So what do you do now?
And it was all cultural, anyways. There was virtually no legislation that was coming in to solidify the woke culture. There was attempts, but I feel like there wasn't really much. It was just the culture. They're just culture warriors. And right now the culture warriors, when it comes to the culture here, the ones that they were riling up, they feel like they're winning. So why are they going to sit there and listen to Ben Shapiro just tell them that they're winning when they can feel it with the vibe in the community?
And tell them that they're anti-Semites because
they're anti-war.
Yeah, because they're anti-war. That's what I was going for. You got some TikToks. I don't know how well these are going to go for me tonight. I don't know what's going on, but
yeah, I got some TikToks for you.
I really struggled with that Tucker Carlson video.
I only have a couple. So I played one of Tucker talking, and now I have Jon Stewart.
With regards to
him just talking about the Democratic Party.
Oh boy.
And how they need to get their shit together. Because it's just so simple. How the hell have you not been able to have just a decent opposition that could hold on to power against Trump and the Republicans? Both of the parties here are such shit.
Before you play the video, just to that point you just made about how easy it could be, dude, this goes that whole statement that goes back to 2004. I don't know if you remember, but Louis Black, right after the 2004 election, made a joke in one of his stand-up specials in 2005, where he just goes, he shits on John Kerry for 2 minutes, and he goes, the fact that the Democrats couldn't come up with anybody that could have defeated George Bush is beyond me. And we're still having that conversation 20 years later, and it almost makes you appreciate, regardless of how much of a war criminal and a overall terrible person that he ended up being, how impressive Barack Obama's campaign actually was. Holy shit, we have a guy that can speak? We have a guy that can
fucking squandered it. Damn,
they absolutely did. Well, he did, but
he comes in, right? He comes in talking about change and hope, and then in the midst of the biggest recession in our country, save the Great Depression, and then fucking what does he do? Lets millions of Americans lose their home, but bails out the banks.
Yeah, says you look like you surf.
So I haven't officially surfed.
We don't live anywhere near an ocean.
No, we got Lake Michigan.
That's not an ocean.
You can surf there though, dude.
Yeah, but not.
You can absolutely surf Lake Michigan. They have 6-8 foot waves out there.
Not like you can on the coasts.
You need a 6 to 8 foot solid wave. I longboard, I skimboard.
Tell that to Kelly Slater.
Wakeboard, snowboard. I've literally done every type of boarding except for surfing.
The seriousness on Corey's face about being able to surf.
I was like, I ain't dropping into no tubes. I ain't out there fucking hanging 10, but I use a stand-up paddleboard. I do that a lot.
You smoke enough weed.
He goes, bro, you bloody surf.
Anyway,
what do you got for different?
What do you got? What do you got for John Stewart?
So John Stewart out here talking about how the Democrats just need to get their shit together.
Democrats launched
for the last 20 years.
Do you think they finally figured out how to win? Copycatting and going on podcasts?
Because their 2029 is so fucking idiotic, and it's the same idiots that put together all the plans that haven't worked out in the first place. They're not understanding where the energy and the desire rests in this country. They have no idea. They're looking in the wrong place, and their Project 2029 is going to be a rehash of all the consultant-driven, careful nonsense that has put them in this place of that, in a moment when the Republican Congress is passing one of the most devastating bills that we have seen in this country in forever, to just put out pictures of Hakeem Jeffries from an angle that makes him look 6 years old holding a baseball bat. And you're like, it doesn't look like you're going to fight. It looks like you're going to T-ball. And that's where they're all going. So, hopefully this Project 2029 that they've done is just a draft on a Google Doc that they can put into edit mode and have people go in there and make some real changes, and hopefully understand the desperation of the moment that people are feeling. Because now,
do you think anyone's getting it right?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of young people whose much more populist campaigns. I mean, obviously, Mamdani is getting all the attention in New York, and for very good reasons. But there's a lot of young candidates that are. It's not even about the savvy in which they use social media or the way that they've gotten attention. It's the burning, I think, authenticity of how they feel about the inequities and upside down nature of the society that we're building.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about in the podcast, when you start consolidating and taking people's farmland and just creating more and more elites with larger and larger farmland, that's a recipe for stupidity. And so seeing the bottom up energy of some of these candidates, I think they're getting it right. They're not being, I think, in any way nurtured or helped by the party elites. In fact, I think they're being resisted. And I think it's stupidity and suicidal on the part of the party elites. I think they're making a huge mistake.
So I think I fixed it. I was able to get like the second half of that video. So I think Jon Stewart gets at least one thing from when I heard absolutely right, and that is about the upward mobility now of young people that are sick of the bullshit. But you know what? That doesn't just apply to the Democratic Party. We just talked about turning points. And the Republican Party calling out the elites and the fucking boomers in the Republican Party for all of their bullshit too.
Yeah. There's a weird, because the Republican Party, they don't delve into, I guess if you want to really paint like what the two parties are kind of supposed to stand for, the Democrats, you want to say that they stand for equality. The Republicans stand for liberty, where liberty kind of includes equality, but it's not the main focus. It's all about everyone's individual liberty. At least that's, like the basic premise of each of what one of them is like talk about. So we have a party of liberty, which isn't what they are. They're nowhere near these things, but that's what they all pretend to be, right? So there's infighting, and they're allowed to maneuver a little bit quicker because or at least get the idea of what's happening quicker because they're not all in a bunch of groupthink. They're all in there like fighting with each other. The Democrats are this party of equality, or under the guise of equality, but really it's just elites and intellectuals, moving that party in the direction that they want. So like resistance in that party is a hell of a lot harder than it is in the Republican Party.
Well, and it's an excellent psychological tactic.
In our lifetimes, we saw the Democratic Party shift to the party of intellectualism and liberal elites under Bill Clinton, and it's been the same way ever since.
And it's an
in the Republican Party, we've watched that switch and sway and go all over. But we've seen MAGA, we saw the Tea Party. We saw the Ron Paul movement. We saw Represent Us, which was kind of bipartisan, but then all of a sudden they switched it up and made it about war so that everyone, they distracted everyone real quick. But in our lifetimes, we've watched the Republican Party do these crazy flip-flops like 4 or 5 times. And now we're seeing the next movement, which is the Gen Z, the young voter base who recognizes all of the problems of the Democratic Party, and they found room in the Republican Party because the Democratic Party is a party of groupthink that if you come in with any sort of other ideologies or ideas, you quickly get pushed out. And so now the big umbrella that used to be the Democratic Party is now the Republican Party. So it's interesting to see. I'm curious to see where the Republican Party is in 20 years.
And the reason,
because the Democratic Party is going to be the same in 20 years as it's been.
Are you done yet? God damn it, you interrupted me like 5 times trying to interject. I love you, Corey. He's pretending. Oh, I thought you were pretending to be frozen.
No. Oh, yeah. You thought I was gaslighting you? Just the quick...
What I was going to say was the interesting psychological, the very successful psychological tactic.
What were you going to say?
That shut up.
I don't give a fuck.
God, I wish I could mute you, but I can't. I don't have that ability nor authority. I need to go all Donald Trump on this thing and fucking use my executive power as I do a fucking unintentional ad for Coors on the show. The psychological tactic that the Democrats have been using for so long is they do this thing where they, as you said, kind of in a phony way, they talk about equality and, they find their protected class, whether it's minorities, whether it's black people, whether it's LGBTQ, whether it's Jewish people, whether it's Muslims. And they do this thing where all of the elites, they go out and they say, we're fighting for your equality. And those dirty, racist, bigoted Republicans, they're going to take away your equality. But what they're really doing here is they're creating themselves, I want to use the right terminology here. They're creating themselves sort of an indentured servant class, right? Because if you are an elite that, quote unquote, stands up for the little man, you have that quote unquote little man to, I don't know, donate to your campaign funds and support, Bill Gates and all of his endeavors to go over to Africa and give people toilets while he buys up all the farmland in the United States to try and make us eat bugs or whatever the conspiracy is. So that is
USA, brother.
That's the psychological tactic that Democrats have been using for 30 years. And to be honest, Corey, we're not like we're not any better than most of these people. You and I both fell for it when we were young. You know, it's easy to get the young crowd in that doesn't own a house, that doesn't have any kids, that doesn't really have that much to live for, especially if you price them out of everything, so that they can go and be like, yeah, I like that party that likes equality, and it's just all a ruse, and it's all bullshit to make you their little peasant class.
It does, and Jazz says what we've kind of been talking about on this show for a little while now, how the boomers and Gen Z are psychologically in tune.
Oh, like they kind of have a similar thought processes?
Right. And I was saying this to my wife earlier. I was like, it's wild how Gen Z all of a sudden is like the boomer gen.
Yeah, because, well, what do I always call boomers? I think they're the most entitled generation the world's ever seen.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Absolutely the most entitled generation the world's ever seen. And they run around, and another thing we like to say a lot is every accusation is an admission, because boomers are the ones that run around talking about us like we're the entitled ones. Why can't you just work like I did to get your house? Like, I could literally work until my fucking knuckles are raw and I still wouldn't be able to afford a house, and it's your people's fucking fault.
Right. Yeah, he said boomers and Gen Z grew up during times of upheaval and change, leading to rebelliousness and self-reliance. Millennials and silent generation faced economic uncertainty and developed cautious, loyal, and structured mindsets as a result.
How do you know that that's true? There are some metrics that bear this out. First of all, millennials are far more what's the word I'm looking for? Financially literate than Gen Zs are. My parents, even though I am a millennial, I have young parents. My parents are kind of older Gen Xers. They're not quite boomers. They would tell you this. My mom might be listening to this show right now.
He did. Yeah, you're right. He said silent gen, not greatest gen. I got the two confused in my head. Sorry.
My parents would probably tell you this. They made a ton of financial mistakes as I was being raised. That taught me some lessons, right? And we'll see kind of where Gen Z goes there, but not just financially. Look at things like numbers with regards to just something like alcoholism. I was looking into this the other day. Alcoholism among millennials is way down because we actually paid attention to the mistakes of generations above us. So again, to the psychologically in tune versus what was the other one, mentally in tune, I agree. I actually agree with that statement.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. He said, he goes, yeah, silent gen is our grandparents' generation. Oh, silent gen is your grandparents' generation?
Yeah, that's like
he's 35.
Silent generation, and then there's
it goes boomer,
the greatest generation, then boomer.
You want to go backwards, it goes greatest generation, boomer, Generation X, silent generation, millennial, Gen Z.
Mm-hmm.
Silent. That's what I'm saying. Silent. Like his parents must have had, his grandparents and his parents must have had kids really, really young.
Well, my parents are Gen Xers, and they're almost 60.
He's saying his grandparents. No, I think 1928 to 1945. I don't think it's the silent gen. It's the greatest generation, right?
It might be the same thing. I think it's the same thing. Two different names for the same generation. It is. Yeah, that's right. He's right.
No shit, it is.
You got it right. Yeah,
he did. I thought Gen X was called silent generation.
No, they're called the forgotten generation.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
because they're gonna
Gen X didn't really. They just didn't really do much shit. Yeah, no, you're right. I was wrong. Silent gen, greatest generation. But yeah, no, they're the ones that dealt with the fucking depression, World War I, World War II. Yeah. No, I like. Yeah, no, that's a good
generational warfare, my friend.
He goes, we invented the language, bro. Shakespeare.
Colloquial terms.
Yeah, why do Why do y'all speak American so funny?
Oh God, I heard. Oh my God, I heard a guy the other day. Somebody was speaking Spanish to him, and he said, "I don't speak Mexican."
Jesus Christ, you dumb
just
shit.
like, come on,
dude. That's why everyone in Europe laughs at Americans. Stupid fucking statements like that.
We're funny. We deserve to be laughed at. We have all the great comedians, so we're funny.
We do. UK has a couple though.
Couple classics.
There's two that I can see their faces, but I can't pick. I can't say. I can't remember their names. The guy from the original Office, the UK version.
Ricky Gervais. And then there's another one that I can't think of. I mean, I can see his face, but I can't think of his name. So. Jimmy Carr.
Mr. Bean was great.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carr, that's the one I was thinking of, actually. That's really funny that you said there's two, and we nailed them. We nailed both of them.
You got any more TikToks?
He said, "I've asked people if I speak Muslim."
He said people ask him.
He said people ask him if he speaks Muslim, or Hindu, or speak India. I got one more for you, Dan.
Okay,
it's live footage from the FBI headquarters over there. Where is their headquarters? It's in New York, right?
I mean, there's one in DC. Yeah.
But I got footage of them with right here. It was actually really interesting to catch. A secret source sent this one to me.
Ripping up the Epstein list.
You remember we played that video? Because that video was...
Corey, I can't help but notice.
What's that?
But I can't help but notice that woman is Asian, so she must have been a DEI hire.
Had to have been.
All that was about. Anyway,
Charlie Kirk actually had something to say about it.
Oh God!
If I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Jesus Christ!
Fucking Charlie Kirk, dude! I can't believe, dude. Do you remember breaking on that whole video and us talking about how, we're like, dude, he thought he was having the hottest of hottest takes.
He thought he.
That one went nowhere. That one went nowhere. It's just we're fucking nerds paying attention to all this shit, so we saw it.
Well, it went nowhere because he's a conservative
edgy as
guy.
A butter knife.
And he's a conservative guy. So it's like anybody that was going to shit on him for that was going to be people that don't watch his show anyway. So what the hell does he care? That's the whole thing. If you're a partisan hack and you say controversial shit, it works. It works really well. Yeah. You have actual. Do we? I think we have actual audio from Pam Bondi when she was asked to release the Epstein files.
Go outside, nerd. Get out. Go. I ain't got time to be distracted by your worthless chime-ins. Go on.
Dude, I know. It's like the Epstein files. All of a sudden, it's a hoax. What does that mean?
It means no worries.
That's right. Very good.
You're gay.
That's what it means. That's what it means.
The biggest load that.
Oh Lord! I got nothing. That's it.
That's it. This is the last one.
Yeah, that's it.
Why don't you tell the people where they can find us, Corey?
Libservative Podcast is about all social media podcast platforms. Our website is libservativeshow.com. We can be found at Libservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Instagram and Twitter at LibservativePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast, and you can reach out directly at libservativepod@gmail.com. Subscribe today.
If you don't have... I'm sorry, I forgot about that last part. If you don't have time
subscribe
to join
today.
If you don't have time to join us, every week we do release our podcast episode of the full show, completely unedited. Everything that we've said on tonight's show will be heard on that podcast. We release those every Thursday morning at around 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you can't make
shout out to Liberty
live,
shout out to
check out
Jazz 91 for hanging out. I had you're an interesting guy. You had me distracted from the show, so I guess come hang out. We record every Wednesday.
You're a weird guy.
Recording Thursday next week. Yeah, so next week is Thursday, same time.
And we do have a special announcement. We have been without Bell for the last couple of weeks. He's still making his way back from Epstein Island. It's taking a long time. He's got to hitchhike. It's a whole story. But
no one likes to hitchhike these days.
He will officially be joining Libservative full time in the coming weeks. So stay tuned. Because I'm getting tired of playing my own videos. It's so Corey. So he was going to be fired like real soon. If he didn't find a way to take our full-time contract. We're offering him endless gummy bears and an ounce of marijuana a week.
Yeah, but it's all based on expense reports. Like, he has to buy it up front and then submit the expense reports, and it's based on our discretion. We don't understand why he didn't want to take a full-time at first, but
we do run a very frugal business here at Libservative. Anyway, he, as always, has been Corey Walsh.
Rubber bands, man. He's Dan Griffin.
It's been Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy, the world's smartest internet show. And until next time, we are out of here.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back. Somebody must lead, or else the fight would not be made at all.